Let's have a nice quick one.
Hallo und willkommen zu dieser FOCKE-WULF-Fixing. Heute bauen wir dieser FOCKE-WULF FW190A8 im Maßstab 1 zu 27. Dieser Starter-Set wird gebaut von Watt. Was meinst du damit? Mein Übersetzer ist eingeschlagen. Ist der? Oh, Scheiße! Yes, this time we're making one of the opposing forces planes, the backbone of the Jaguar and a dangerous opponent to even the Spitfire. This set I got as a gift, but it can be bought for £12, like most other small plane starter sets. I did not particularly enjoy construction of this, probably because I'm an impatient child, but I found it incredibly hard to keep some of these parts aligned during construction, and I also stupidly put some of the parts in the wrong order, so I had to rip them out and refit them. The gun sight bit was a massive pain in the neck due to its small size, and I ultimately just painted over it. Not my finest piece of work.
This is why you need paint thinner, people. This is just dried into a clump on the side because it's been sitting like this for goodness knows how long. Hey, sit rep. The black paint's even worse. It's literally just a solid lump of acryl. So thankfully I already have some spare 33 matte blacks, so that's no biggie. Close enough, there we go. Sit rep, it's not going well. I had to pull this part out, so now there's a load of glue gunk everywhere. I need to apply these decals. Not sure how I'm going to do that. I completely buggered up the attachment of the guns, so now I just don't have guns, and also there's a lot of polycement residue that got everywhere, so I'm going to have to do something to hide that. Fuck! I hate this. Stupid model goes together terribly. It's too fiddly, too many parts. Terrible. I feel like that guy from A Clockwork Orange as he's slowly being tortured with Ludwig van.
The FOCKE-WULF's engine was built by BMW, who of course tend to not talk about what they did during the war, much like the most other German manufacturers. I can't think why. It proved to be very powerful and meant the plane could truly be configured in many different ways, from a fighter to a bomber. Truly a pioneer of modular construction.
I'm sure this requires a lot of care and precision, so, oh, fuck.
I wanted to try out my airbrush on this kit, but the paint immediately got jammed in the nozzle and it stopped working. I was eventually able to fix it, but by that point I just got fed up and brush painted the whole thing. I couldn't tell if it was because I used acrylic paints unlike the enamels on the instructions, but I doubt that. I'd already mixed in way more thinner than I needed into the paint, so I'm not sure why it just decided to clog up. Very annoying.
There's a thing for you to stick this into, but on the plate. Oh, I just painted over it. They've forgotten the hole. They've literally forgotten the hole for me to put the thing. Oh, for God's sake!
I don't know if it was because of how thickly I'd applied the paint, but I could swear that one of the holes for the bomb undercarriage was missing, so I had to cut off the pin and stick it in by eye with only one pin. I also found that there were no holes for the pieces on top either, so I had to scrap those details as well. It definitely wasn't the paint though. There's no indication you need to drill in the hole, so I'm blaming this on a bad tool job. As I was painting the camo pattern onto the plane, I realised that the kit's painting instructions were wrong.
Hang on. I've got a problem here. So the instructions say to paint. So for the camo pattern, you're supposed to paint the dark bits in You're supposed to paint the dark bits in 145, and then you're supposed to paint the light bits in 27. But 145 is lighter than 27. It's definitely supposed to be like that because it's the same on the box art. Is it like what? What the? Is this normal? Have they ever put the paints in the wrong packet? How have they done that? Is it what? What?
Eventually, I was able to solve the issue by simply mixing some 27 with 33 matte black to create a darker grey, then applied it where the 145 should have gone. The tone does change slightly in places due to me not fully mixing the colours before painting, but it isn't too noticeable, and the only real problem is that the dark is actually too dark and contrasts with the light too much. But overall, it's not too bad. Having solved my paint predicament, I applied 2 thin coats of satin varnish and applied the decals to the plate. Most of this process went smoothly, but unfortunately a slip of the hand as I was cutting up the decal sheet caused me to score through the spinner swirl. Oops. Ultimately I gave up on applying it as I couldn't figure out how it even was supposed to go on, but since none of my acquaintances are all that massive World War II history buffs, I'm not sure anyone will care all that much.
Oh, there we go, perfect. Molto bene, bellissimo!
Having applied a layer of matte varnish, I tried out the enamels for the first time to make a wash to bring out the panel lines. The results aren't perfect and it can be a bit blotchy in places, but it overall turned out pretty well and adds a nice grimy layer to the plane. For some reason though, the paint in the wheel wells reacted badly to the wash and dissolved, which would imply that the paint was actually enamel based. I find that weird as the box explicitly says that it is acrylic, but who knows, maybe it's just certain chemicals used in it. Thankfully, the wells are recessed and underneath the model where no one will see them. I could just cover it up with some weathering powder, which I applied to the wells, guns, gun casing ejectors, engine innards, and exhaust. And with that, the build was done. This definitely isn't the best kit I've made. I made a few construction blunders, and unfortunately the plane now only has 1 gun instead of 4. Also, the paint job is not my finest, and I am still confused by that contradiction with the paint scheme. Also, I could have installed an antenna wire, but I didn't because I couldn't be bothered to go through the process of stretching a sprue over a candle to destroy my life expectancy. But other than that, I think this build turned out pretty decently. Und damit, danke fürs Zuschauen. Na scheiße, mein Übersetzer ist weiter Englisch.